Hi everybody, my name is Jo and I love to read. Today I'm going to be talking about my end of the year TBR. I'm a mood reader. Things often change. I am going to be doing another update on my zero TBR journey the year on because it's been a year or more since I finished it in August last year, I think was about time. And I really want to talk about how I feel about my TBR. This is it here at the moment, so you can probably see that it's fairly substantial compared to how much I read, especially at the moment. So I just want to talk about those feelings and updates and things like that. But for now, I want to talk about the books that I want to get to before the end of the year, which the list is sort of different to what I thought it would be, but I'm really trying to prioritize, and I'm actually going through a bit of a reading slump slash I don't want to give up on the books that I'm reading, but I'm not super interested in them. I think I'm also a bit more into TV and watching BookTube at the moment as opposed to reading content for BookTube, which is quite funny to be in that at the moment, in those feelings at the moment. But these are books that I really hope to get to, and I'm trying to be pretty realistic considering that I'm filming this at the end of October and we've only got 2 more months to go, and I don't often read a lot compared to other booktubers. So let's get into this after my long ass intro. This book I want to read, which I should, is the graphic novel Monstress by Majorie Liu and Sana Takeda. I need to get better at talking. I feel like with comics and mangas and graphic novels, when they're talked about on BookTube, I feel like people don't always mention the names. It's almost like the names aren't known as well or don't seem as important or something. This is probably maybe like a reflection of me more than anything and not necessarily accurate, but I'm trying to mention the names of the people who do these to try and push them into my brain as much as I know the names of the authors of the novels that I read. I want to read this one in October, and since I am filming this, you guys all have this up before Halloween, but I want to read this one on Halloween Day. Because my idea was I like reading themed books for the season, but I often don't have enough time to read them because I don't read quickly. And I also feel I want to read them on the day and get them done on the day. I don't want to read them in the lead up to. So my idea for this was graphic novels, and I bought Monstress last year before Halloween to read it on Halloween, and waylaid, some family stuff happened. I was just very not in a reading mood and I didn't end up doing it. I was going to do this whole reading vlog, blah blah blah. Didn't end up happening, but I want to do it this time. I'm kind of thinking maybe a reading vlog would be cool, but I also don't feel like I'd have a lot to say, and I don't have a lot of Halloween content because I'm Australian. We don't really celebrate Halloween that much here. I went trick-or-treating once with one of my cousins, and a lot of responses from people were like, "You're trick-or-treating?" I don't know whether it's, I don't know, it's not done a lot. Anyways, back to the book. I really want to get this one done. I don't know a lot about it, but I think the main character is some kind of monstress, hence with the title. I do know that it is absolutely gorgeously illustrated, and I really want to get more into graphic novels and mangas and comics. So this one I want to push myself into reading it, and I really want to, and I think I'll enjoy it. And I just need an excuse. Well, I don't really, but I need to read it. The next book I want to read is My Sister is a Werewolf by Kathy Love. This one was loaned to me by my mother-in-law. She said it's just a fun read, and I really want to give it a chance. Not only just to read it and have a bit of fun, and I feel like I do need that after the books that I have been reading. I read Game of Thrones, it's really heavy. This, I feel like if I enjoy it, it can be a good fast quality read. And then also I don't like the fact that I have had a book loaned to me for an entire year now, because after I finished my TBR, I told my in-laws, I told lots of people, and my mother-in-law borrowed them to me now. And as I said at the start of this video, I have had these, I did a zero TBR August last year, so I've had this and another book that I haven't given back to her because I wanted to give them back in one lump for a year plus. And I know she's probably not waiting on them because she doesn't read all the time, but still I don't like holding on to stuff. It keeps looking at me going, you need to read this, girl, and I really need to. The next one I want to get done is The War That Saved My Life by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. This one is one of my goals for the year. I wanted to read a book that has a main character with a disability, hence picking up this one. I also think that it's going to be a fun middle grade, and I would like to build up my repertoire with middle grade a little bit more over the years in the hopes that maybe Miles will enjoy reading books and I can recommend all these middle grades to him, though I also think we'll probably just go into the bookshop or the library and he can just have a browse and pick something that seems interesting. But if there are some really good classic ones that I want to recommend to him, I would like to get them done as well. Probably a heavy but maybe like a heartwarming at the same time book, and I definitely want to read more historical fiction. I want to read more from, is this like modern fiction because it's like World War, like modern historical because it's World War II. So I want to read more from that. I would prefer to read more non-fiction from that point of view, but I also feel like novelizations of what have happened are still interesting and can still help me learn a bit more of the context and the time. And the final book that I want to read is the Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. My main driving force in this is that I got it for Christmas last year. And Christmas is approaching. My family do a Secret Santa to give the adults some more presents. I had the first series of unfortunate events on my list, so I got that, but it must have been under the price. So then my uncle who got me, and he's actually my uncle that is always really encouraging me to write as well, he bought me this book as well because he thought it would be really interesting. This is also based on modern historical events as well. It's about the creation of the first Oxford Dictionary and the women who end up learning, I think based on my memory, the women end up learning all the words as well and how to write and things like this, because this is back in like 1901. Women weren't as apparently valued back then, or they were valued more for their breeding and homemaking abilities as opposed to their intellectual abilities. So I think this is really interesting. Plus as well, I'm a bit intrigued as to what happens in it, because it doesn't mention anything about kids or pregnancy or birth or motherhood or parenthood on the back of it, but there is a postpartum doula who I follow on Instagram, and she posted a story about how she was reading this, and I replied to it and said, oh, is this good? You know, I have this book to read, and she said it is, but it's not for early postpartum, which means people who have just had a baby. Now, it's been 5 months. I'm a bit more affected by media about kids than I used to be now that I am a mum, but it's more TV shows and podcasts, things where I can actually hear someone talking about it as opposed to books. So I feel like I should have an okay chance of reading this and not getting upset, and plus I'm just really intrigued, and I think, well, what's the time limit? Like it's been 5 months for me, it'll be longer by the end of the year. What is gonna, he'll be 7 months by Christmas, so how long do I wait before reading this? And I'm in the mood too, which doesn't always happen all the time for a book that I didn't pick myself. So I'm really keen to give this one a go. If you have read this one, let me know, or if you have read any of these books, let me know. Are you excited for me to read more of any of these or not? I know they're a bit different to what I normally do. I was really hoping this year to get to the first live ship traders, and as you can see, I started to tab it and I have a bookmark in there, so I started to read it, but then I felt like reading a Game of Thrones book, and so I picked that up instead. Maybe it was a bad choice because now I'm like, oh, so long, I'm bored, blah, 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 but I still want to keep reading Game of Thrones. So I wanted to put this on the list, but I don't feel like I'm going to get there just based on what I want to read, like my reading time as a person, how often I read. I don't think I'm going to get there, and I really wanted to. But who knows, because I'm also a mood reader, so we'll see. Thank you everybody so much for watching this video and continuing to support my channel. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Let me know something that you're hoping to read before the end of the year as well. How are your reading goals going? Are you feeling the pressure? I'm not, because I don't put pressure on myself, especially having a baby for the first time this year. But I hope you're having a really great reading year as well. I'm really hit by, at the moment, probably because I've gotten a lot more into booktube at the moment, I'm really hit with the whole, there is never going to be enough time to read all the books that I want to read. And that can be kind of sad with booktube, because I read books and I get recommendations and I just want to like intake it all straight away, and then watching people who read lots of books all the time, I just and I could prioritize it more, but I don't. Now I'm writing, and so like I have less free time because I start to write now instead of reading, and it's just so many priorities, and life is so good, and there's so many things I want to do and never enough time, and I have to be okay with it. So does that resonate with anyone? Thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!